Chris. We're missing a few people here, but this is the majority of us. We'd like to welcome you. Quick history. We were established in 1969. We were at one point the largest homeowner association there was in Arlington. Obviously, Viridian has completely wiped us out clean, right? But we're historically the oldest one here. Robert Rivera, Councilman for District 3. Go ahead and come on up here, bud. He is our councilman here in this district. And I'm actually going to let you give us a little bit about yourself because you are from StoneRidge.
Okay. I think I can go down the mic. Can everyone hear me okay? Yep. Great. Glad to be here. I'm Robert Rivera. For those of you who may remember me, I grew up here. So StoneRidge is where I'm from. Okay. The next part, I did agree to any questions that y'all would like to talk about. I'm hopeful that code and police questions are done, but feel free to bring those up here if you would like, as we still have officers here as well. Again, I'm Robert Rivera. I'm your city council member. I've been your representative for StoneRidge in Southeast Arlington for almost 12 years. I grew up here. This is really where my family planted its roots. I grew up on Concord. As a child here, growing up in StoneRidge, I played at the parks, was a lifeguard for a number of years here and at the Little Pool. And then as I got older, I actually served on your board of directors and was vice president of StoneRidge. So this neighborhood is very important to me, and I'm always glad to hear from the residents. I'm always glad to see, you know, long-standing residents that continue to live here, and it's great to see. And it's also great to see new residents that also move in, and it's something that I'm very excited about. You know, StoneRidge was formed back in the late 60s when Arlington was really about to hit its stride in terms of growth. Part of that growth was led by former Mayor Vandegrift and him bringing the Rangers to Arlington from Washington, D.C. I have a book here. It's a New York Times historical perspective book on specific topics. This one is on the Texas Rangers. And I'm going to read just something from you, and this is, hopefully you'll find it interesting. The title is, "A Little Town Goes Big League." There's a picture of Mayor Vandegrift here, and the date is April 21st, 1972. And it talks about, the article talks about specifically Arlington, and then it talks a little bit about our neighborhoods. Specifically, tourism should bring Arlington $100 million this year, as George Hawks, the publisher of the Arlington Citizen Journal, said. Tourists are a lot more profitable than cotton, and they're easier to pick. So, as you know, Arlington was basically agricultural. We had cotton fields all across our community. Next paragraph. With all this rapid change, Arlington is rather a rather growing place. New tract housing with all electric kitchens and gas barbecues are sprouting up across the city with names like Rolling Meadows and StoneRidge. They've pushed Arlington growth to the edge of the prairie where the tall grass still croons in the evening breeze. So that's the New York Times, Arlington, Texas, StoneRidge. So I always thought that was really neat. So that was really cool for our neighborhood. With that, I'll open it up for any questions. For those of you that don't know, on November the 8th, the city of Arlington will have an election for the potential for a new baseball stadium. The stadium is something that the council has deliberated internally in private session for years. It's something that we have the opportunity now to put before the voters on November the 8th. Ultimately, it is the decision of the voters of Arlington whether we want to have the ballpark here in order to keep the Rangers. So I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have. And again, you do have a document there, deal points that have been put out by the city that are also on our city website, but I'd be glad to answer any questions you might have.
Before we continue, just so we can have other people that can answer those questions in case you can't answer them, I'd like to bring up Warren Norred, if you'd like to join just to answer any questions people might have, and Greg Lamb, CPA. Come on up and just hang out, and Councilman Rivera can answer questions. You're more than welcome to.
Sure. And also, from a time commitment, I do have a family obligation, so I need to be leaving about 8 o'clock, so we have about half an hour for the discussion.
Well, I have a question.
Oh, actually, she's right there. Go ahead.
Well, I like to think about how money is spent. And my heart is in the library, and I haven't heard lately, did we get enough money to cover
Yes.
everything finished?
Yes,
It
so...
seemed like we were several million short, and I'm like, okay, we have money for a ranger station.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. So the library is going great. It will be finished and finished on time. We do have a library foundation that is out collecting dollars for sponsorship opportunities from large corporations to help with the library, but there is funding and we are moving forward, and we're looking forward to a great library in downtown
Why do
Arlington.
they have to have the funding for that, though? Why?
To make it even nicer, basically. Just
They
whenever we
have
can...
so much money for it?
Whenever we can look at private-public partnerships, then here's an opportunity, and so we're going to make this library beyond state-of-the-art. It's going to be one that Arlington will be really proud of. So if you'd like, I can get you more information about the libraries. We're very excited about the project. Yes, sir.
It's just a side note about the city council people back in the late 60s, early 70s. That's when they were building this entire section over here, the homeowners association. They did a terrible job of trying to enforce building codes. I've been trying to renovate my house, and I've run into plumbing code violations. We've got cracked foundations all over the place.
Right.
It was a farming community.
Right.
All they ever did was put the foundation on top of their farmland.
Right.
As opposed to preparing the soil properly.
I agree.
And those city councilmen did nothing about it.
Right. So,
They were
very good point.
They were probably too busy trying to get the renters over here.
Well,
They're
let's...
concerned about the citizens.
My family had to spend a lot of money for foundation repairs for our home on Concord, so I understand what you're saying, and, I really can't speak for folks that were in office before I was born.
Any question over here?
Okay, yes, ma'am.
I don't understand why you're not neutral with this thing. I can't understand it at all. As I keep bringing up single-member districts, council and mayor fought me. I was voting for them. I was a voter, I was constituent, and they fought me. Why are you fighting the people who voted for you?
Okay, so, the city of Arlington is one of the largest cities in America.
Makes no difference. Why are you fighting this?
Me or
The
the city
whole
council?
council and the mayor. Why are
Okay.
you fighting this?
So again, the city of Arlington is one of the largest cities in America. Our population is bigger than Buffalo, Pittsburgh, St. Louis, Cincinnati, Orlando, Anaheim, New Orleans. Arlington is a very large city. We have almost 400,000 residents, and we have a lot of people that disagree with you that would love to have the new stadium. So,
But you're not representing me at all. Why are you doing this? Why are you taking sides?
okay. So, again, I'm here tonight to talk about facts and to answer questions the best that I can to my ability. What part of StoneRidge do you live in?
I don't.
So-
We live just right over the way.
So right over where? Right over where?
We were invited.
Okay. So the point, though, is that I'm not your council member. But yet, I'll answer your question. So when you say that I'm not representing you, well, technically, you're right. You can't vote for me.
But you
and
didn't
so...
disagree when mayor and it was unanimous, the vote.
Oh, okay, that's what you wanted to... Okay. So...
You don't understand?
I appreciate the clarification. I voted to allow the citizens of Arlington to have the opportunity to vote yes or no to the Rangers on November 8th.
But you're part of the pack.
No, ma'am.
You're not part of the pack?
No.
Who is part of it? Everyone but him. Oh, really? Then I apologize. I didn't know that.
Dan, you got a question?
Yeah, I was in a motorcycle accident not long ago, and so I've had a lot of time to think about risk versus reward.
Okay.
And so when it comes to the stadium, I'm trying to stay informed, and I'm trying to figure out where the risks are and where the reward is in building a new stadium or
Sure.
not.
Okay.
And I appreciate that you're putting the vote to the people.
Right.
I wish maybe there was a little longer time frame
Sure.
to do so, but
Okay, let me talk to
I'd like
both
to-
of those points regarding time frame. You know, Arlington is in competition with all of our surrounding cities for jobs, not just for the Rangers, but for all new jobs that come into the Metroplex. I'm sure that everyone groans whenever you see that another community has landed a corporate headquarters, or big jobs are moving elsewhere. And so those are opportunities that are missed by Arlington. You know, the fact is that the Rangers are a tremendous corporate citizen. They do great things for our community, and they're part of the fabric of Arlington. And they've been here for decades. So what we gain and what we lose is significant. There's potential for significant gains and losses. The significant gains that we have are to build on momentum that we have within our city. The losses would be the economic impact loss of losing one of our city's largest employers. And for those of you who don't know, Arlington is basically built on tourism. Tourism is our largest industry, meaning that more dollars come into Arlington from tourism than anything else we do. So if we were to lose the Rangers, that would be a huge economic hit to our city.
are we truly at risk of losing the Rangers? I mean, they're in a lease till
Great question.
2024 or something.
So the answer is yes. Several reasons. One, it takes about 5-6 years of lead-up time to build a brand new baseball stadium. We're talking land acquisition, we're talking the soft cost, you're talking engineering, design, and then finally construction, financing. There's just a lot of components to a new stadium. The Rangers will be here for another 8 years on their lease, no matter what. What's before Arlington is either the Rangers will remain in Arlington at a new stadium, or they will risk being elsewhere. And that's really what we're ultimately discussing here.
So it's really just like they may stay, but they may also go, and there's 5 other MLB teams that are looking to leave their cities.
Okay, so, you know, there's been a lot of media reports about the city of Dallas. There's other communities as well that have not been reported on that are also interested in the Rangers. You have pots of money from economic development corporations that can be pulled with tax dollars and other money to bring a team. So let's focus on Dallas. Dallas, as you know, is massive. They have tremendous taxing ability. They have tremendous opportunity to raise funds. They have very interested individuals, very wealthy individuals that would love to bring the team over there. And again, this has all already been reported in the media. So the fact is that Arlington needs to be as nimble as possible in order to retain the Rangers. The reason why we're having the election this November as opposed to last May is simply because we were not able to get an agreement in time to put it on the May ballot. You know, the fact is that we are in competition, and so much of what happens is behind the scenes. Whenever it was announced that we had an agreement to keep the Rangers here in town that we would put before the voters, there was a lot of people that were surprised by that here in Arlington. And the reason why is that it was not publicly discussed. All of the discussions were in private in executive session.
Why was
So,
that? Why did you
so-
keep it secret?
So the reason why we're in executive session is that it's negotiation. We do not want to compromise our position. And the same reason why you haven't heard too much about the other communities, even though media and reporters are out there trying to get greater details from other communities, the fact is that the other communities are also having their negotiations in private. So,
Hey, Robert, I got a question.
Sure.
If I may. When I look at this whole situation, I call it a boondoggle, and here's why. As you know, we exchanged it on Facebook.
sure.
This situation, as far as us approaching Rangers, they didn't approach us. This was incepted, to use that word, inception, coming in, and then done deal in 30 days. Tom Vandergrift in the history of the past of GM, Six Flags and all that, he took 3 to 4 months of negotiation before putting before the citizens for their input and before the council to have a vote. Now, on this one, it turns out we see this press conference on a Thursday. There's no citizen input whatsoever. And then all of a sudden it's going to the first vote before the city council. There's no input, give or take whatsoever. Why couldn't they just go ahead and delay it? You're talking about putting a November ballot, couldn't make it for the May ballot. Why not put it in May of 2017's ballot?
Because they're not going to vote.
So specifically, let me get to your points. The first is that why wait? Time is of the essence. We do not want to risk losing the Rangers to another community. Whenever Arlington was able to, we took the Cowboys from another community. Basically, that's what happened. Whenever we did that, our people voted to bring the Cowboys here. The city of Arlington had been in negotiations in private, and we were very, efficiently and quickly able to reach a deal with the Cowboys in order to go before our voters. So the citizens of Arlington approved that deal, and that is the way that went about. It was a real quick timeline in terms of the actual negotiations. The ballpark in Arlington, same thing. Negotiations behind the scenes. Dallas was very publicly and openly trying to bring the Rangers to Dallas back in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. Arlington, again, behind the scenes, was able to negotiate in executive session a deal with the Ranger ownership to build our ballpark in Arlington. We put it before the voters, and the voters approved it. So the way that we're doing this now is very similar.
Okay, well here's the situation. Back then, it's apples and oranges in my book. Because back then, I think the majority of this room were in favor of having the old Arlington Stadium torn down, build a ballpark, and they purposely built it in the tradition of baseball itself. It's called the Boys of Summer for, good reason. That's the song by Don Italy. But the whole point is, as far as the negotiations that go on and such, it seems to me without the residential input, we're not really truly being represented in negotiations at all.
No. Okay,
what I feel like this getting, and as I explained to you on Facebook, is I feel that behind the closed doors, there's a lot of perks going on, such as, and I'm going to say it, like free tickets for the council members, free food concessions, etc., where the Arlington folks are going to have to pay extra because the new stadium is only going to have 1,000 seats less. Therefore, they're going to have to make up all that income by raising the ticket prices for us and all that. We should at least get a discount.
Okay, so let's talk about the point of the time frame. The council has been talking with the Rangers about keeping them here literally for years. Although we may not talk about keeping the Rangers here in every executive session, dating back to Mayor Cluck, it was an item of discussion. So I don't want anyone to think that this agreement was rushed. It wasn't. It was very thought out. It was a very detailed negotiation in the best interest of all of Arlington. We did the best that we could and put forth an agreement.
Why did you think you knew better than we? Why did you think that you and the mayor know more than we do about what we want?
Okay, that's not what I said. I would appreciate
That's what you said.
I would appreciate it if you'd let me finish making a statement.
Finish,
so, again, the City of Arlington, our council, we did the best that we could to negotiate with the Rangers. So, again, it's your decision. And, in the past several weeks, since it's been public that we're going to have a November ballot, I've had a tremendous amount of people that have been very appreciative, very grateful, very glad, and very optimistic about this passing. So, I know you have your opinion and you're strong about it, and I'm glad that you love our city that much, but I'm confident that there's another person in another living room in Arlington that feels just as strongly as you do,
That's why
but on the other side.
Council should be neutral. That's fine.
Okay. Again, I'm not on the pack. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say, I love my Rangers, but I am not for the public being taxed for any sport, major league sport whatsoever. With that being said, we opened this meeting about all these code problems, and if you drive around Arlington, you can see that this city is in a decline because I have children that are not in this area. They're in McKinney, Frisco, Little Elm. You see the progress. You see how things are. Why can we not take some of this tax money and help these people with these code problems, these people that are losing their jobs, medical issues, retirees, and help them bring their homes up to code? There are other cities in other states that do that. They offer things for their residents.
So-
What benefits really can you give us?
Sure.
You know,
Okay.
our roads are in decline.
So let's talk about that. You know, the city of Arlington has a number of programs where we do grants for communities. Matter of fact, StoneRidge is going to be the proud recipient of $15,000 to a neighborhood mention grant that has just been awarded and will be part of our upcoming budget. So StoneRidge is one of the fortunate communities that will be participating with that, and congratulations to your board and all of the hard work that went on that. We're talking about sales tax dollars, and so sales tax dollars is something that you know, has to go before the voters. I'm a huge public safety person. Love our police officers and our firefighters, do all that I can daily to ask for more. For them, for more officers, more folks in patrol. A couple of years ago, there was a vote before all of Arlington for a crime prevention, crime control and prevention district. It would have raised our sales tax just a little bit, and it would have provided for public safety across Arlington, and it failed. So, you know, the city of Arlington, our council will do the best that we can to present ideas to the people of Arlington and let the people decide. Regarding the deterioration of our community, if we were to lose the economic benefit of the Rangers and all of the jobs, and there are jobs that are associated with the team that some people might not think are significant.
Like selling hot dogs and Cokes?
Again, people might not think that's significant, but for the person who sells those hot dogs and Cokes, they could be the breadwinner of the family. That could put someone through school.
What about the billionaires who are predators? They come into a city when they find corrupt city government and they find people who are indecisive and they can convince them they come in and take our tax dollars.
So again, every job is important. And again, I'm glad that the citizens of Arlington will make that decision.
Robert,
For all
I
Arlington.
We have a question up front.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I was thinking about what you were saying about the risk versus reward and what Councilman Rivera was saying about the impact that tourism has on Arlington.
Right.
Would you mind standing up?
Sure, I can stand up so I can get a little more heard. And I guess where I'm struggling with this is in May when the public information came out, in the Rangers FAQ information, there was a very short paragraph that talked about visitor impact on Arlington and quoted data that was provided by the Convention and Visitors Bureau from a very recent year, 2014. Okay. And the number that was provided was extremely small in relative to the $16 billion economy that is Arlington as a whole.
Right.
And so I guess what I'm struggling with is where is the reward for the Rangers? We can go back and look at bringing a new team, the Cowboys, to Arlington, and we can measure the difference.
Right.
But there is no measurable additional benefit when you're simply replacing an existing stadium with a whole new stadium. And so there's a lot of outflow of money, and that risk versus reward is where I'm just having a real hard time.
And there's a lot of citizens that feel the same way. The risk is, do we risk losing the Rangers? The fact is that the stadium is will not be played past the expiration of the lease. That there are other opportunities for the Rangers in other communities. So
They will definitely leave at that time.
you know, that's not for sure that would happen, but if, hold on. The issue is this. The Rangers have opportunity. They've made it very clear that they would like a new ballpark. Their ownership has mentioned the importance of a new ballpark in order for their future. So, you know, I cannot speak for the Rangers, and all we can do is put Arlington in the best position possible to keep the Rangers.
What will the old stadium be used for?
Good question. As of yet, there is no official what's going to happen to the old stadium, but I would expect in about definitely before the election, that there will be public comment about repurposing the stadium, and it is something that we're very excited about. We are working with individuals on that, and we'll talk about that whenever. No, it is.
One second. So Robert obviously is running out of time here, so if we can keep our questions as short as possible, he'll answer as short as he can, that would be good.
Okay, yes, sir.
Okay, we talked about tearing it down, putting a new one, or using repurpose and everything.
Right.
Nobody said anything about the dome that they talked about, possibly putting over the old stadium.
Okay, so the old,
Money situation.
right, okay, so the dome. It is something that we have talked about with the Rangers. In order to retrofit a dome, we understand that the stadium would have to close for a number of seasons in order to put that together and make sure that it is structurally sound. But larger than that, the opportunity for a new stadium is greater than the potential for a retrofit that may or may not work. And again, that is something that we look forward to having a future press conference about as well regarding that issue. Let me go to someone else. Yes.
Councilman, according to Star Telegram, on the November ballot, there will be 2 additional taxes that will also be on the ballot for, I guess, visitors that will be attending the new stadium, and that will cover the cost. I don't know. According to the Star Telegram,
right,
these 2 sales taxes will come from those basically visiting the stadium. And it also stated that there would be some kind of split between the Cowboys and the Rangers as far as the revenue. Would you elaborate on that a little bit?
I'm unfamiliar about a split between the Rangers and the Cowboys.
Lauren, her question is regarding the revenue versus with the new 2 taxes. Is that what your question is?
Yeah.
So does it get split up with the Rangers and the city? Is that what the
Okay, so the Cowboy Stadium will be fully paid off to pay off Cowboy Stadium. So once that is paid off, then the city then can issue new debt. So that's specifically, I guess, why the Cowboys were mentioned. Yes, sir.
I read in the paper that the Rangers are going to have an opportunity to have the same deal that the Cowboys had. That Jerry Jones and the Rangers will have a $3 fee on parking added, and that the Rangers will be able to add a 10% fee, up to a 10% fee on the ticket price.
Okay, so on the ballot there are 5 potential measures that can be used. Just because they are approved doesn't mean that they will be utilized. So that remains to be seen, and that's not in the control of the council. Yes, ma'am.
I just read on the master agreement, it appears that seat licenses are going to be employed for the new stadium like they are with the Cowboys. Is that true?
Again,
licenses, tickets, you'll have to have a seat license?
Again, that is out of the control of the council. I'm not sure.
It's in the master agreement. So
correct. So again, that there is that option, but I do not know whether that will be exercised or not. Yes, ma'am.
One of the things about when we brought the Cowboys in, we told all the benefits we were going to have, talking about risk and benefits. I don't know about any of, I hadn't seen it, and I was concerned even then that we didn't have the hotels, we didn't have the restaurants, that would bring people here to stay.
Right.
We are a tourist spot. That's it.
Right.
They come and they go. They don't stay here. They don't go to the hotels. They don't go. So my concern is, and if the Rangers are so important, why didn't we make them a better deal 20 years ago when we built the stadium? Why didn't we lock them in and give them what they wanted? Why are we coming back to us again?
Right.
For some of this will be our 3rd stadium we built, so
Right.
we are a little tired.
Sure. You know, the great thing about our baseball stadium is that, again, it was approved by the people of Arlington, and that the debt for the stadium was paid off in a matter of years.
Right.
So we own the baseball stadium free and clear, just like, you know, we own a library or fire station. Buildings have a lifespan and a life cycle. So what we're talking about is basically dollars. Dollars for the city of Arlington, dollars for the Rangers. Rangers are going to make decisions in order to make them as profitable as possible, both on the field and off. And so a retractable roof stadium would do, according to the Rangers, great things for them. Otherwise, they wouldn't be asking for the stadium. So To answer your question, I love the ballpark. It's a great place. I have a lot of awesome memories there. But again, if the Rangers are the ones requesting a retractable roof stadium in order for them to play in the community, then that is the question before the voters.
Why did we
So,
get
we respect Robert Rivera for being here real quick. We have time for maybe 2 more questions.
Okay.
Just a point, the city of Frisco has been building all these sports facilities up there. And I just heard a news broadcast that they're having trouble with the schools. They don't have enough money to pay, I don't know, build the schools, pay their teachers. You know, we got that problem there. And also the other idea is that I haven't heard Irving since they lost the Cowboys. I don't think I've ever heard them complain that they don't have the Cowboys anymore.
Right. Good points. You know, the city council and our school board and school district are 2 separate entities. So the city of Arlington and the taxes that we bring in do not go to fund schools. So if the people of Arlington want to support schools, that they have shown that we do. The city just passed, as you know, a record-breaking for Arlington bond election literally months ago. So we are reinvesting in our schools. I can't speak on behalf of the city of Irving, but you know the economic impact is there. Probably the greatest thing that I can point to is the recent recession. Arlington during a couple-year period, whenever the Cowboy Stadium was first opened, had extreme gains from sales tax across our community. Our economy was going, and that is in direct opposite of other communities, Fort Worth, Dallas. Their sales tax numbers were down 10 points, even higher some months, while Arlington was positive. So there is something to be said for having a stadium and all of the jobs that trickle down throughout the community for it.
What I really don't like is this idea that if we don't give them the money, they're going to leave. It sounds like extortion to me. It sounds like blackmail to me.
Okay.
We just had a president giving away $500 million to bring some prisoners back.
Right. So again, the people of Arlington will make the decision. The fact is the Rangers have options. They have an option in November for a new baseball stadium here. Other communities are courting the Rangers. Thankfully, we're able to get our ballot initiative before others. The Rangers have not said that they will leave. The Rangers have an open door here as long as they'd like to stay. But from a realistic standpoint, ultimately, this is about money. This is about a business. If the Rangers were not important to Arlington, we wouldn't be deciding the issue on November. So it is about dollars, and it's about dollars for Arlington.
One last question over here. I know he's got to go. Sorry, Andy. She has an answer.
I'll come back to you. Yes.
Kim?
My councilmember, Charlie Parker, will not have a town hall, so I have a big question.
Sure.
Will Texas Live still happen whether the voters vote yes or no in November?
Yes, Texas Live will happen.
There you
Well,
go.
then we need to go back to the drawing board and do like maybe a 30-70, a 28, and make them pay for more.
The reason why Texas Live will happen regardless is that it's a business decision. There's a tremendous amount of bodies and tourism, retail, and other things that are going on because of the Cowboys. If the Rangers are not there, it would hurt Texas Live, but they feel confident enough that it will survive with the Cowboys. Yes.
Okay, I'm done with the state.
Okay.
I want to know about the bridge to nowhere south on Center.
Okay, Center Street Bridge. It is
Now we got south.
Final question. Okay, Center Street Bridge. It is not a City of Arlington project, although our engineers and myself have been pushing TxDOT, who's in charge of the project, to try to get this thing going. We don't have an official timeline. As you know, construction stopped because of faulty walls, faulty engineering.
I didn't know what it was.
Right, it was faulty engineering of the embankment and the support beams in the walls. But from what I understand, it will be complete sometime next summer, probably late summer.
Okay. I think it starts at Barden and comes across.
Right.
Are they going to eventually maybe have something, 20, the access road for people to get on there to go east or west or whatever? I know it can't on this side because that's wall to wall.
Right. So the Center Street is specific just to move traffic north and south.
So it's not going to have an access to the access road?
No. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. I love StoneRidge, and again, this is my home, and just it's always glad to be back. If you have any issues regarding anything at all in the neighborhood, please email me, and I'd be glad to help. So, Pablo, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, bye-bye.